Our next testifier will be Anthony Caputo.
Chair Baeza, committee members. As president of the Plantation Estates Homeowners Association, I urge you to include both Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge within the rural growth boundary of the Maui Island Plan Directed Growth Map. PILOA, our association, is the association governing both Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge. We appreciate the Planning Department's support of including Plantation Estates within the rural growth boundary. However, because we are one community, and literally you drive to Honolua Ridge through Plantation Estates, they were named differently by Maui Land and Pineapple for marketing purposes, but they are one community. We would appreciate you considering to include both in the directed growth map. Several of our owners within Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge have submitted written or oral testimony in support of including both communities within the rural growth boundary. In fact, a total of 19 owners have written support and supplied testimony. That's about 18% of our owners. We expect more. So our community is, in general, is in support of this. And in fact, more Honolua Ridge owners have written testimony in support of this move than Plantation Estates owners. In summary, we do not seek to prohibit agricultural activities. Rather, we seek to keep peace among neighbors and support established land values by implementing parameters regarding noises, nuisances, and the type and number of animals allowed. We are aware that the Save Honolua Coalition seeks to preserve Honolua Bay water quality and Rapala Point itself, and we agree with those concerns. Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge are existing subdivisions with all roads and infrastructure in place. All grading necessary for the subdivisions, roads, etc., has taken place years ago, and there are no graded areas contributing to increased runoff into Honolua Bay. In fact, the ground cover and landscaping in place at Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge probably provide for better soil retention and runoff control than when the area was in pineapple cultivation years ago. Nearly half of our owners have already built their homes or are in process of building them. We do not seek to expand or further subdivide our lots, and our covenants, conditions, and restrictions, or CC&Rs, restrict any further subdivision. Any new grading within our community would be limited to very small areas such as a building pad on an existing approved lot. And therefore, builders would be bound by county grading requirements and the PILOA CC&Rs to implement best management practices to retain runoff while soil is exposed. After construction, any increased runoff is required to be retained on the site of construction. The bottom line is this: including Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge within the rural growth boundary will have no impact on the water quality in Honolua Bay or the preservation of the Rapala Point. We support both. Our community of Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge already exists. We're not seeking to increase the intensity of uses already allowed. We simply seek to implement consistent rules and design guidelines for both areas. Because we are one community, we seek the same designation. Thank you for your consideration of our request to include Plantation Estates and Honolua Ridge within the rural growth boundary area of the Maui Island Plan Directed Growth Map, and we urge your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, questions for testifier? Mr. Couch.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Caputo, for being here. Got a couple questions for you. One is the runoff. You saw the pictures of the runoff, and are you claiming that that is not from as a result of your subdivision being there?
I don't know when pictures were taken, so I can't specifically comment on that. But what I can tell you is that our subdivision, and particularly the change that we are seeking, will have no impact on runoff.
That's neither here nor there. I'm just curious, very concerned about that runoff. But the other one, and more importantly, is that you seek to restrict what type of animals can be in the subdivision when this is already an ag subdivision. when people bought into this subdivision, they knew it was going to be ag, and knew all kinds of ag can be done there, and now you're telling us you want to restrict it if it goes to rural. Is that correct?
We would appreciate the opportunity, in some extreme circumstances, to be able to do that, yes. And our goal there is to maintain the value of the community. I believe you've seen testimony before that indicates that the community is a significant taxpayer and that it uses very little county resources. We would like to be able to maintain land values and thus have our owners benefit and also have the county benefit at the same time.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further questions for the testifier? Ms. Cochran?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Caputo.
Good morning.
So you're saying the current designation and, I mean, we don't change it into rural, your land values will be going down, primarily due to the permitted uses of what it's currently designated as ag.
What I'm saying, Ms. Cochran, is that I think our land values will be maintained at a high level if we are able to provide consistent guidelines to our owners.
Okay. And again, is your homeowners association currently 5 members?
The association is 103 owners. If you're asking if our board has 5 members?
Is it your board then, 5 members on the
Yeah,
board?
there are 5 members on our board.
And 4 are, Nadine, from which section of this subdivision?
4 are currently owners in Plantation Estates, and 1 is in Honolua Ridge. Our vice president is in Honolua Ridge.
Okay.
That changes from time to time. I would expect that at the next annual meeting, the percentages are likely to change based upon people who will be retiring from the board. We have several owners in Honolua Ridge who have indicated that they are willing to support, to serve on the board in the future.
Okay. Good, hopefully more balance.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Caputo. Thank you, Chair.
Any further questions? Seeing none, Mrs. Caputo,
Thank
thank you.